little personal history. I did attend public schools all my life, 12th Street Grade School, Keith Avenue Grade School, and Rufus King High School. My children attended public schools all of their lives, Rufus King graduates, Riverside graduate, and Vincent. And I currently have a granddaughter recently enrolled at Pierce Street Elementary. Also for the record, my mother was a Blue Devil and my father was a Lincoln Comet. So I am deeply rooted in MPS. And I've had a chance to tell this a little bit story at a Gordon Park hearing not too long ago, but I've often compared Milwaukee Public Schools to a film called Old Man and the Sea, from a book by Ernest Hemingway. If you're familiar with the story, then you know that the old man caught this huge whale, and by the time he brought it to shore, it had been eaten and picked apart so badly by the sharks. By the time he brought it to shore, there was nothing left but bones, and the man tried to beat off the sharks, and he was unsuccessful. Well, I feel like all of my life, in fact, I ran for school board when I was 20 years old or whatever. But all of my life, as I've had a chance to watch and observe, it seems that MPS has always been under attack, and not enough people ever coming to its defense. Yet still, ironically, some of the people who attacked it the hardest and the most got that good education from Milwaukee Public Schools. So I just find it kind of ironic. You know, I'm speaking of some of those choice advocates and all of that. And so I'm kind of really curious still to this day, maybe you all know better than I, who was really behind this. You know, because at first we heard it was Arnie Duncan, and then come to find out he said he wasn't behind this takeover at all. In fact, he said in a speech that in cities like Milwaukee and 2 other cities remained, in fact, a partnership between the mayor and the school board would be more preferable. So I'm still kind of curious, and I'm kind of mindful of my days at the Social Development Commission when all of a sudden the contracts were awarded to minorities in terms of the air conditioners back in the day. All of a sudden people got upset, and then SDC came under this tremendous attack. And I'm just wondering, with all the money that you guys have been able to save lately and put back into the schools, if you didn't make somebody really mad along the way, and that therefore this all came out of the woodwork, oh heck, the school board's not spending the money the way we want them to, and now we're going to try to take it over. You guys know more about that than myself. But I do want to thank you all publicly, those of you that have had the courage to come out and take a stand on behalf of your own positions, on behalf of the school board, because we voted for you. I voted for Director Woodward. My vote matters.
Hello.
My vote matters. And so for those of you that have been forthright and, you know, and coming to the public hearings and coming to the meetings and coming to City Hall, you know, I really want to thank you publicly for taking such a principled stand instead of maybe hiding in the shadows and maybe waiting on a promise, oh, you know, if you go along with this, we got a spot for you somewhere, you know, on a new board or maybe in the governor's office or whatever. But lastly, I want to close. There's something that's really been kind of bothering me lately, and I heard Sheriff Clark on the radio tonight too, uttering this kind of philosophy. And the mayor himself said that you cannot have a good city unless you have good schools. But I think he's got it backwards. You can't have good schools unless you have a good city. And so for those who will polemicize and argue that poverty has nothing to do with education, I say they're full of bunk and they're crazy. And I think possibly the best person to give this dissertation was Lamont's mom not too long ago at the center on the south side when she talked about exposure. Exposure, how we expose our kids to whatever exists in life outside of the classroom has everything to do with how they perform inside of the classroom. Yes. By the way, I am a 5th grade school teacher for Milwaukee Public Schools. So all I'm saying is that exposure has everything to do with what our kids bring to the classroom. I taught at the village school inside of North Division for 2 years, and 12 minutes away from our school, when we rolled past Miller Park, the student said, I didn't know that was Miller Park. 12 minutes from his school, he had never seen, on the express, he had never even seen Miller Park. So I'm just saying, exposure has everything to do with it. Poverty has everything to do with our low performance. And so this philosophy, and it reminds me of the welfare reform debates that took place not too long ago, where they tried to blame poor people for being poor. You know, the problem with poor people, they want to be poor. What I'm hearing lately is, you know, the problem with our cities is our kids just don't have no education. And Sheriff Clark said it tonight as well, you know, our problem is the kids got to be ready to get those jobs. But I guess he doesn't know we have the 2nd highest unemployment rate for black males in the entire country. So the problem in Milwaukee, first of all, is people don't have enough jobs in order to expose their kids to a better life, to a quality of life, and that kind of thing. So I'll just quit, but good job. Take care.
If all these years the mayor position has been a full-time job, where is he going to find the time to do a superintendent's job too? Is the mayor's job a part-time job? Then why have we been paying him full-time wages? Where will the time to do a good job as superintendent come from? What mayoral duties will be neglected? It sounds to me like the citizens of Milwaukee will be underserved. That's it.
We need to be talking about things like intrinsic motivation and building school-wide and classroom communities, conflict resolution programs, smaller class sizes, emotional intelligence, the affective domain, learning reference to the knowledge of the brain, and how to create schools where kids love to go. But to the business at hand. In the 14 years I've lived in Milwaukee, I have voted in every school board election. I've often gone door to door or stood near an intersection holding a placard for the candidates of my choice. Like anybody else, I voted in good faith, fully expecting that the winners would be empowered by law to do what they were elected to do. A mayoral takeover would render those elections and my sore feet meaningless. This takeover plan has the stench of a government coup. Mayor Barrett has not tried to collaborate with the board. The mayor has neither accepted your invitations nor offered his assistance or consultation. A mayor and his or her superintendent would not have any better access to the research on best practices in the classroom that you, the school board, and your superintendent have, or any superintendent that you would choose in the future. We should be getting our universities more involved in school issues, perhaps through the Milwaukee Partnership Academy. I haven't seen evidence that the mayor meets on any kind of a regular basis with educators, but I'm sure he meets quite often with people from the business community.
And you're right.
What kind of a superintendent would the mayor hire? I'm quite convinced that it would be a superintendent who's saturated with the values of the business world. Bottom lines, accountability. Now, accountability is not as simple as Mayor Barrett says it is. He says he will be accountable once every 4 years. How simplistic. Whether the voters agree with his education policies or not, in a mayoral election, his performance in many other areas other than education, street maintenance, garbage pickup, and so forth, will affect the outcome. Accountability for our schools is far more real when the only reasons to vote for or against an MPS policymaker are his or her performance and views on education. That is, people vote for the mayor for a variety of reasons. We vote for or against you because of your education policies. When does the business community, including the large media companies and the Madison Avenue advertising companies, get called to account? Where's their accountability for the sex, violence, commercialism, and impatience that they bathe our children in every day of their lives? When does business get called to account? Where's their accountability for the things they do to upset the parent-to-child flow of nurturing in every house in Milwaukee and everywhere in America? In conclusion, there's a lot that this school board has done over the years that I've disagreed with. Still, I think the board deserves full-time pay.
And you're right.
I believe that MPS has big problems, most of which emanate from what's called OSF, out-of-school factors. Let the mayor and governor work on those issues: housing, unemployment, hunger, mental health services, medical care. That is where the mayor and governor should be directing their energy. Thank you.
Very proud,